for me, it's always shocking to me when something goes right here. Always, always. I mean, since honestly, I mean, I came of age during the War on Terror years, right? 9/11. I was, what was I, 14 going on 15 at the time. And, watching George Bush get reelected with a majority vote in 2004 was a scarring experience in the sense that from that point on, I've never trusted the American people to get anything right, ever. I mean, I could not believe it. As a teenager, I missed that election by about a month because I'm a December baby, and so I was 17 on election day 2004, so I couldn't vote. I just could not, for the life of me, believe that a majority of voters would walk in and vote for the guy who clearly invaded the wrong country on purpose based on total bullshit. At the time, I was still blue-pilled enough to think that the Afghanistan war made sense because, well, the terrorists came from there, right?
Right.
I
that one's logical. That one made sense.
That one seems to me at the time, right, at the time. And by at the time, I shouldn't even say in 2004. I should say in 2002, the Afghanistan war made sense. As soon as they started talking about going to war with Iraq, I became of the opinion that 9/11 was more or less an inside job. So I was kind of red pilled by the time 2004 came along, but still, be that as it may, and even given John Kerry's horrible record on the Iraq War itself, I was for it before I was against it, blah blah blah. It still seems just so shocking to me that however many tens of millions of people, I forget what the count was, but how can you reelect George W. Bush after that? And so from then on, I've always had this assumption. My default assumption is that if Americans have to choose the right way or the wrong way, they're going to choose the wrong way. And it always seems like a miracle when they don't. And on occasion, they haven't. All right, on occasion, they have gotten things right. But that always seems like a real long shot.
Well, I actually disagree on this ground. And listen, don't ever underestimate or misunderestimate what the American people are capable of doing when given the opportunity. Yeah. They'll vote for a shit kicker like me, even though I'm a total Nepo baby CIA plant, if there ever was one.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
oh my God. Can we please address the fact that he even pretends to have a Texas accent?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, that's kind of like Trump. Like Trump sounds like a guy from a bar in Queens because his dad would make him go on the construction sites, and he picked it up off those guys. George Bush, from what I read, he picked that up off the roughnecks and the oil workers out in West Texas, and he learned to affect it just like Donald Trump did. Donald Trump learned to affect this working class demeanor. That's part of why he was able to sell himself that way to working class people, just like George Bush, because he doesn't have the affectations of Bush the First, who was clearly a patrician. His son learned how to shapeshift into a fake working class guy.
And we cannot underestimate what it was like specifically for Keaton and I, because Keaton was in high school. I was in my second or third year of college, and listening to people say, "Oh, I definitely vote for Bush. I'm that guy. I definitely want to have a beer with him." Like, you want to have a beer with the fucking leader of the free world?
Yeah.
Like, this is ridiculous.
Well, the fact that they were all so psyoped into that election becoming a referendum on gay marriage too, like out of nowhere, they forced this gay marriage question into the conversation.
Dude,
you got fucking wars going on left and right. You're talking about gay marriage.
Hillary and Obama sitting there being like, "I don't believe in gay marriage."
No, I know, but it's funny. Like 2 years after 9/11, fucking World Trade Center comes down. You're involved in two wars. One of them seems pretty obvious to be the wrong one. And now you guys are arguing over gay marriage all of a sudden because Karl Rove wants you to argue over gay. Like, it was just, how stupid is this country? That was my impression. Like, as a teenager, I could not believe how fucking stupid this place was, that you're arguing over this at this time with this going on. Because the other thing about it too is, and Peter, you could probably sympathize here a bit too. We were both kind of a generation. We grew up in this we kind of came up in this very weird sort of respite, which was the 90s, right? Which was the end of history, is the right here, right now. We learned about war as if war was a thing of history, whereas every other generation learns about war as a fact of life. But we learned of war as a thing of history. So to see these wars break out and to see a war come to our soil with this massive attack, it was really shocking in ways to us that probably didn't hit the exact same to other generations who kind of grew up with this threat of violence over them. So for me to see that going on and then to see the country just get distracted like a cat to this gay marriage debate was just like, what the fuck is this place, man? Holy shit. Holy shit. And I've felt that way ever since. I really have.
Which is why we're in a very unique period here where friend of both respective shows, Brianna Joy Gray, said the other day that the left continuing to tap dance with the Democratic Party, full stop, like not even entertaining the idea of legitimately trying to build out a third party operation, is going to lead to somebody on the populist right building out a third party operation. And of course, if Tucker Carlson is the
mayonnaise man,
if anybody's going to lead it, do not underestimate how far somebody like Tucker Carlson could actually take this. What do you guys see ultimately unfolding here?
Nothing. I think Carlson's going to wind up backing J.D. Vance, and that's going to be the end of that. I also think, and we've given Tucker a lot of positive coverage, and we'll continue to when he deserves it. Don't forget, Tucker Carlson went, I don't know, to Nicaragua like you do when you're in college during the middle of Iran-Contra, and his father was a CIA operative, and, he just went to Nicaragua, like you do. Don't forget, he lied about knowing that his father was in the CIA. So who knows what's going on with Tucker Carlson? Certainly more than meets the eye. So I think it's nonsense.
Yeah, we covered this earlier on our show. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene has talked about this too, and look, I do think they have a lot of pull. I think, unfortunately, the organizational lift of getting a third party off the ground and viable is just so heavy. You look at these opinion polls, right, about how, when the bottom 90% of Americans want a policy, they don't get it. And when the top, 1% wants a policy, they usually get it. And we see that as a real indictment of democracy, quote unquote, which of course it is. But this is also an illustration of how capitalism really perverts democracy, because part of the reason why the wealthy get their way and the masses don't is because the wealthy have the resources to build out an organization, right? They either have time to pound the pavement themselves, or more often than that, they have the resources to hire people to do it, right? So it's not all about stuffing money in the politicians' pockets, although we know that plays a big role, but it's also about organizing around the things you want. And the masses tend to not have the time, the resources, or the wherewithal, just the overall bandwidth to do the same thing. So when you see, we covered this on the show earlier, overwhelming majorities of Americans want a third party. Overwhelming, 60 plus. But very few Americans vote third party. And that's because there is just not the organizational capacity to launch one right now. Now, of course, as a long-term project, and this is exactly word for word, basically what Marjorie Taylor Greene told Piers Morgan, that's not something you do in 1 or 2 cycles. That's something you build out long-term. In the interim, I hope that guys like Tucker can influence Republican politics for the better. I fear that, look, as soon as J.D. Vance started making the rounds talking about this MOU, I sensed the PSYOP underway to sanitize J.D. Vance and position him as the voice of dissent within the administration who tried to stop the war.
Yeah.
And so Vance, and Tucker,
that's where they're going.
And Tucker seemed to buy that, at least to an extent. I hope that if people like Tucker and Marjorie Taylor Greene do exert some influence in politics next cycle, it's not going to be with their third party. It's going to be within the GOP. if there is any kind of opening there, at which point, you know, getting a Thomas Massie type person to the nomination would be amazing. Because look, I'm not a Democrat. I have no loyalty to the Democratic Party whatsoever. You need here, what you need here is a leader who can disrupt the Palantir prison state that's being built around us. And as much as I disagree with Thomas Massie on a lot of things, I trust him to do that, frankly, more than I trust Gavin Newsom to do that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter to me where this comes from.
Yeah.
What you need is a leader who actually is willing to throw down for quaint things like, I don't know, the Constitution or something. Like, you actually do need like a constitutionalist movement. You need a kind of liberty movement now. You know, as much as I would like to see that paired with economic populism as opposed to like a Massey type libertarianism,
Yeah.
paramount is a liberty-based movement. And of course, hand in hand with that is a peace movement, right? You know, upholding civil liberties here and getting our boot off the neck of the rest of the world. Those are priorities. I won't even say 1 and 2. Those together are the priority for these next couple of years. And I think whoever is best positioned to do that in whatever party they have to use to get there is who needs to be backed.
Yeah,
And
I
I
agree.
think-
I would vote for Massey for that too. He's the only person that I think would actually stand up to any oligarchic tentacles at all.
Right.
And yeah, I disagree with him on probably 90% of policy. But I would trust him way before I would trust Gavin Newsom.
Right.
I mean, no question. And we all mutually share a like for one particularly non-duopoly candidate, yes?
Yes. And this is where we conclude for the evening. One of the things that brings us together, and I do agree with you, Keaton, and Russ, I'm sure you have a similar sentiment regarding a third party. The fact of the matter is, there are certain tools within the system that you can use to support independent candidates.
Oh,
In
sure.
certain places. In
Of course.
certain
Yeah.
places.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes. And so Washington State is one of truly 4 states in the union that has what is considered the jungle primary, has a system in which if you are able to build an infrastructure, you don't really need to be in one of the 2 major parties. You just need to be able to get to the general election.
Right. You
Yeah.
need to win second place. Yeah.
Correct.
Correct. And so Kshama Sawant is a mutual friend, an incredible leader. If anybody is currently in the position to lead a third party, not even a third party movement, just an independent movement outside of the 2-party duopoly, she is the one to do it. And she is not only running for Congress as an independent, she is doing it against one of the absolute, I mean, if you want to pick a congressperson who's worse than Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Adam Smith is probably that guy. He's been there for 30 years, and he is the author of Section 224, which is to merge the U.S. and Israeli armies together as one. Now this motherfucker apparently earlier today said that he no longer supports this. And listen, Cenk Uygur.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
No, he came out against it now. That's what Cenk Uygur reported. Yeah.
So Cenk, unfortunately,
How fast is that? That must be a world record from author of a bill to
maybe
this basically turning against the bill. That's got to be a record.
That's incredible.
So Cenk gives credit to Ro Khanna. And it's like, listen, that doesn't mean that you can't give Ro credit. But if you think for one fucking second that the reason he switched was because of Ro Khanna and not Kshama Sawant, you're out of your mind.
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course, because he's got the election. Of course, 100%. Yeah.
Got to protect that Democratic establishment. And with that being said, as you guys know, we started a PAC. We raised some money, modest amount, but we are going to put it to good use. You are going to be the first to see it, as is our audience. This is what our money is being put towards first in the primary.
A hot dog truck?
That's a good guess. Not quite. Not quite. No, we are officially doing.
Those are billboards. There's
billboard
billboards in
for
Kshama's
Kshama Sawant.
district.
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
Nice.
Nice.
Yep.
This is going to go up in I did a lot of research on this. This is going to go up in the 4 most highly trafficked areas in the district. It will run every minute for 8 seconds between now and the election, which is August 4th.
Nice. And that's in the district, obviously.
Correct.
All right, cool.
So,
Look at
I mean,
that.
for that, you probably could have bought a hot dog truck and put the sign on the side.
Well,
And you
Then
know
you
what?
would have
That
still
would
had
only
the
be
hot
worth
dog
it,
truck.
Russ, that's only worth it if you're driving the hot dog truck. If you were
Yeah.
going to drive the hot dog truck, then I would consider that.
yeah, but then you'd have no hot dogs.
Well, I don't eat hot dogs anyway, but you
No,
know.
neither do I. But
Well,
Well,
you
but
should
then,
pitch this. You
but
should
then you
pitch
could
this
have
to-
like a based hot dog truck in Seattle year round.
Pitch it to Kshama. She stands there and sells hot dogs at the truck.
Yeah.
That's how she campaigns.
That's
Yeah.
it.
So
Everyone likes hot dogs.
Shama obviously has not seen this. Nobody on her campaign
Right.
has
They're
seen
not
this.
allowed to coordinate with you guys, right? That's a
No,
legal
and
thing.
we haven't. So this is a revolutionary change pack. And yeah, we're coming to Seattle.
Awesome. Oh, so that wouldn't work then. She couldn't sell the hot dogs because that would be a violation.
Ah,
right?
right.
Because
That would
she
be
can't.
coordinating with the pack.
All right. Never mind. Just a thought, just
Yeah.
we thought,
that's why you guys are the pros. Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
thought, it's 8 seconds. You gotta be snappy about this. It's gotta be catchy. What is something that's tangible you can point to? She is the person. I mean, we could have went after Amazon. We could have done that. But I'm
No,
like,
this is what people want to know. You have 3 seconds. Kshama Sawant, we have the nation's highest minimum wage. That's it. That's the thing. It's all the economy. It's the economy, stupid.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Kshama that's made her so effective, and I think this is something that I think more broadly, and not just the left, but I think anybody trying to organize sort of independent political movements is that, Kshama has, she's rooted in theory, right? I mean, she is a revolutionary socialist. That's what she calls herself. She's not shy about that. But she doesn't lead with theory. She leads with policy, and she puts wins on the board every step of the way. That's very important, because if all you do is talk theory till you're blue in the face, you lose people. You actually have to put results on the board and actually have to improve people's lives, which she, of course, has time after time. In Seattle, against, pretty steep odds. I mean, Seattle's not New York. It doesn't have Wall Street, but it has Amazon, it has Microsoft, and it has Starbucks. So a lot of corporate power in Seattle. Not the easiest place to do this. Yeah.
You forgot a very important MIC mega corporation. Well, I don't know how much they still consider it home. It's probably South Carolina now, but Boeing.
Algerian, no, she's not DSA. She's not a democratic socialist. She's a revolutionary socialist. She doesn't affiliate with the Democrats. And DSA is anyway. Anywho.
We just put to rest any thought that the DSA is ever going to support. You see, this is the thing.
No.
If you really want to call them out and you really want to prove how attaching yourself at the hip to one of the 2 major parties renders you basically dickless after a while, they will not come out and support Kshama Sawant. That's not going to happen.
Well, they won't support Jose Vega either.
Sure.
Right.